And the premise is this: too many of us, and this was certainly included me early in my career, wait too long to try to master the other side of the story. To me, it's imperative, absolutely essential, that we do everything humanly possible to master all sides of the story. If this had been done in the case of Rolling Stone, the story never, ever would have been written. So three things happen when you master the other side of the story. First is it adds nuance. Instead of a story that's white or black, 0 or 100, it's gray, or 60-40. Second possibility, the other side of the story is such utter bullshit that it adds muscle to your central thesis. And last but not least, you may discover that the other side of the story is so important and so convincing that either your central thesis has been totally debunked, you have a different story, or you have no story at all. So that's point one, do everything humanly possible. Second, in trying to get the other side of the story, and this relates both to excellent journalism as well as libel law, if someone won't talk with you, send that person a certified letter. Say that you want their account of the story you're writing about, and that you'll be available day or night, weekday or weekend. Give me your phone number, give me your email. I used to give them my home number. This demonstrates to them and anyone else that you really want to get the other side of the story. And if you're ever sued for libel, it's irrefutable evidence that you've done everything humanly possible to be fair, accurate, and thorough. Another thing that I feel is important is when you're gauging the credibility of witnesses. If it's a story that is destined to be a cause celeb in your community, you may consider hiring a polygrapher to polygraph certain key witnesses or people in your story. During the Rizzo administration here in Philadelphia, and for those of you who are young or not from Philadelphia, Rizzo was a former police commissioner who became mayor, most powerful man in the city. My partner Jonathan Newman and I wrote quite a few stories about illegal violence by police, and we hired the former head of the police department polygraph unit to actually polygraph victims and witnesses. So if he said they were telling the truth, that they'd been beaten to smithereens by cops, it was very powerful evidence to demonstrate to readers that we've done everything humanly possible. Two more tips and then I'll cease and desist. Another great tool, I believe, is assembling a panel of experts. 5 or 6 people whose knowledge of the subject you're writing about is so authoritative, so broad and so deep, that the people you're writing about will have to say, whoa, I can't believe the Inquirer spoke to the person who wrote the textbook on legal ethics that we're using at every law school. Once you find that person, the person who wrote the legal ethics textbook, ask him or her, what 4 or 5 people in the state or in the nation do you most respect, and where can I find them? And then get in touch with them. If they're nearby, go see them. Ask them to assess the findings that you have. Ask them what they think of the solidity. And do everything you can to ask them to debunk your central thesis. If they can't debunk your central thesis, and they're true experts, you'll know you're on solid ground. If something makes them hesitate and pause, you need to know either you have to modify your story or think about your conclusions again and do more reporting. Panel of experts is critically important. Last but not least, am I within my time limit, Rob? Absolutely. Okay. Last but not least, I think it's always great to figure out a yardstick to measure your findings. And I'll give you an example, and then I'll shut up. A yardstick, I did a series of stories about attacks by police canine dogs on innocent, unarmed citizens here in Philadelphia before many of you were born. And the conclusions were that a small group of canine officers were actually unleashing their dogs and ordering them to attack innocent people. Other attacks were not civil rights violations, but pure accidents because of the lack of training. there were no guidelines in the police department. So what I did in trying to find a yardstick was I found a person, a trainer, who'd established the K-9 unit 30 years before I wrote the story. His name was Anthony Taft. I said, Mr. Taft, tell me, when should the police department be able to order a dog to attack a human being? He gave me guidelines. I said, who else is really an expert? He then gave me the names of people who train dogs for the military. I found 4 or 5 of them. Then I got the guidelines from those guys, went to the police department and said, is this reasonable? I was able to establish a yardstick where none existed. As soon as the stories ran, aside from the criminal investigations, the mayor ordered the police department to formulate guidelines. So now I'm going to stop, but number 1, go to the ends of the earth to master the other side of the story. Assemble a panel of experts, send certified letters if someone won't talk with you, and always have a yardstick by which you can measure the conduct of the people you're investigating. Thank you.